to latch onto Crown Prince Hayden Lee. I underwent plastic surgery to look like the one that got away after being burned, devoting myself to being his simp. But he sneered, pulled a delicate new girl close, and tossed a black card at my face. I don't like Lu Shanshan anymore. Go get another face. Hearing this, I was overjoyed and quickly texted Mother Lee. Madam Lee, young master's psychological issues are finally resolved. He no longer loves Lu Shanshan. Madam Lee was thrilled and immediately transferred me 100 million. Without hesitation, I left the private room, booked a flight, and hopped in a taxi to the airport. How novel. Mei Shin actually stopped simping. Yeah, before this she clung desperately to young Master Lee, doing whatever he asked. Hayden's dubious friends murmured in disbelief. She didn't even take the black card. Is she playing hard to get now? Hayden probably felt I'd humiliated him publicly. He pushed his new companion aside and called me dozens of times, every one going straight to voicemail. His face was now extremely grim. The crowd tactfully changed their tune. Mei Shun is a materialistic woman who hasn't even secured her position yet. How could she possibly give up? Not only is Mei Shun a simp, but her parents are also desperate to climb the social ladder. They even altered their appearance to resemble the parents of young Master Lee's, the one that got away. She'll definitely come back to keep simping. Hayden Lee's expression eased slightly as he snorted disdainfully. No matter how she begs me this time, she won't get her position confirmed for the next 3 months. Unless everyone eagerly suggested to Hayden Lee what other absurd and shameless things they could make me do. Unaware of all this, I took out my phone to contact my parents, telling them to pack their bags and hurry to the airport. After arranging everything back home, I let out a long sigh of relief. My 3-year stint as a simp had finally come to an end. My family originally ran a small business, but a client took our goods and refused to pay, causing our cash flow to break down. Numerous debt collectors came to our home, vandalizing, looting, and even setting a fire that left my entire family disfigured. My PhD studies were interrupted as a result. It just so happened that Mother Lee came to inspect the hospital under her family's corporation and told me her son was trapped in severe mental distress due to the disappearance of the one that got away. She said, since I needed skin graft surgery anyway, why not reshape my face to look like the one that got away? To help him overcome his psychological trauma, she would cover all my family's medical expenses and outstanding debts. I agreed. For 3 full years, I endured Hayden Lee's dark moods and countless taunts from his dubious friends. Finally, he grew completely tired of the one that got away's face and lost all affection for it. Mother Lee was overjoyed at the news and transferred the promised payment to me in one lump sum. Since I was paid to do a job, I naturally didn't want to cause Mother Lee any trouble, so I booked the earliest flight available. I took a taxi and rushed to the airport, embracing my parents with overwhelming emotion. The plane took off on time, leaving all the hardship behind in the past. After a day and night, we successfully checked into a hotel, and Hayden Lee texted me from an unknown number. Mei Shun, how dare you block me? Who do you think you are? You've been with me for 3 years. Done everything there is to do. What man would want you now? Stop making a scene and come back. If you don't return soon, don't blame me for what happens next. He thought it would be like before, that I wouldn't mind his belittling and would beg him through tears not to abandon me. I chuckled softly and blocked the number without hesitation. Hayden Lee's loyal friends finally lost their patience and reached out to me through various means. Mei Shun, know when to stop. If you anger Hayden, don't say we didn't warn you. He might really cast your side. Hurry up and apologize to young Master Lee. Then come back. Without you attending to his every need, he's been in a foul mood. Where could you possibly go without young Master Lee? Don't come crying and begging him to take you back later. I scoffed and added each of them to my block list. One by one, for the next 6 years, I devoted myself entirely to my studies and career. My talent for mathematics was exceptional. Even after the earlier setbacks, I was able to return to my alma mater to pursue a PhD. Thanks to my outstanding performance, I graduated in just under 2 years. After graduation, I was recruited by Titan Capital, a major multinational financial institution. I worked extremely hard, dedicating all my efforts to the company, completing numerous investment projects, and ranking in the top 3 in performance every year. After 4 years of hard work, I was finally promoted to managing director. This trip back home is to evaluate the domestic company's market expansion. I had just finished a discussion with an investor, and we parted ways when a doubtful voice called out from behind. Mei Shen, is that you? I turned around, looking at him with some surprise. I vaguely remembered this person. He seemed to be one of Hayden Lee's brothers, named Leo Wang. His eyes were full of disbelief as he looked me up and down. The present me was a far cry from the past, dressed in a high-end suit, elegant and composed. I was no longer the desperate hanger on groveling after Hayden Lee. Mei Shen, you've changed so much. I almost didn't recognize you. What puzzled me was how he had recognized me at all. Over the years, I had made a fortune in investments and sought out the top plastic surgeon to restore most of my original appearance. Now, I looked nothing like Hayden Lee's the one that got away. Leo Wang seemed to notice my confusion and explained, after you left, young Master Lee dug deep and investigated everything about you, including your original appearance. Hayden Lee must have been quite disappointed then. After all, my original looks were far from the one that got away. But I don't care about any of that now, so I brushed it off casually. I've got things to do. Let's talk another time. Leo Wang grabbed my arm. Mei Shen, after you disappeared, young Master Lee was emotionally unstable for quite a while. I replied calmly, it's been 6 years. There's no need to tell me any of this now. I'm not here to clean up the aftermath. But Leo Wang grew angry. Mei Shen, do you think you've grown wings since leaving young Master Lee? No matter how much money you make, you'll never outearn him. Young Master Lee has now taken full control of the Lee family's businesses. He's booked the Rosewood Bar for a party tonight. You'd better show up. Who knows? He might even offer you a job. I found him utterly unreasonable and drove off in my Pagani without another word. After a busy afternoon, handling company matters and attending a cocktail party. It was already late at night by the time everything wrapped up. Just as I stepped out of the bar, I ran straight into Leo Wang and his crew. Leo sneered. Thought you weren't coming? Dressed up all pretty for who? Without another word, he dragged me into Glamour Bar. Only then did I realize tonight's cocktail party and their gathering were at the same bar. Pushing open the private room door, I saw a crowd playing games and dancing. Someone spotted Leo and teased. Leo, no wonder you're late. Aren't you going to introduce the beauty beside you? My eyes swept over every face. A few I still recognized as Hayden Lee's old troublemaker friends, but most were strangers, and they were all gathered around a man of extraordinary presence. It was Hayden Lee. Years apart had stripped away his youthful rawness. Every gesture now radiated the poise of a successful man. But what shocked me was the woman beside him. It was a face identical to my younger self, only now more mature and alluring. Hayden Lee's the one that got away. Lu Shanshan. I quickly pulled out my phone, snapped a photo of Luce and Sean, and sent it to my boss. The boss immediately responded, keep her there. I'll handle it right away. Just then, an acquaintance was the first to recognize me. Mei Shen, young Master Lee, isn't this your old simp? The entire room fell into dead silence. So quiet you could hear a pin drop. Hayden Lee abruptly looked up, and once he confirmed it was really me, the glass in his hand shattered instantly. His expression shifted from lazy indifference to shock, then to an indescribable complexity. The crowd wore varied expressions, some mocking, some sighing, whispering among themselves. During the years Shan was missing, this Mei Shen tried to take advantage, even going as far as to alter her appearance to look exactly like Shan. She was utterly obsessed with young Master Lee. Obsessed, more like a gold digger. What woman wouldn't want a shot at young Master Lee's bed? He never gave her a second glance. But back when Mei Shen left, young Master Lee made quite a scene. And even though Shan has been back for so long, young Master Lee still insists they're just friends. How could that be? Back then, young Master Lee was utterly heartbroken when he thought Sister Shan had died. She was the one he cherished most. Now, This imposter returns. Could she be trying to steal young master, Li from Sister Shanshan? A shadow flickered in Lu Shanshan's eyes as she stepped forward with a smile. Mei Shen, right? Thank you for using my face to take care of Li Fei these past 3 years. I remained composed, taking a Manhattan from the bartender and sipping it lightly. No need to thank me. I was paid. After all, 100 million for 3 years? Sounds like a bargain any way you look at it. She seemed surprised that I openly admitted to being money-driven. Whispers erupted around us, dripping with disdain. Mei Shen, after all these years, you're still as shameless as ever. If you hadn't altered your face to look like Sister Shanshan, young master, Li wouldn't have glanced your way. Did you leave 6 years ago because you'd milked enough money? Hayden Li sat silently nearby, his expression unreadable. Lu Shanshan smiled faintly. This is my fault too. If I hadn't had that accident back then, Han Fei wouldn't have found someone who looks exactly like me to bring back. My expression remained neutral, and I didn't respond. A guy squeezed through the crowd. Mei Shun, I heard young master, Li dumped you back then, and you went abroad out of spite. What do you do for work now? Liu Wang said when he ran into you today. You were seeing an old man out. You're not. He winked and made suggestive gestures, implying I was in that kind of profession. Everyone around us looked at me with scorn. I smiled. Investments. Mr. Lin is one of my clients. Stop bragging. We all know what you're capable of. He feigned a deep sigh, putting on a show of pity. You're already in your 30s, right? How long can you keep up this kind of work? No matter how much those men say they love you, they're just playing around. Listen to me. Find a proper job. Otherwise, you'll end up with even lower class men. And then, another girl leaned in. Didn't Mei Shun's home burn down a few years ago? I guess she still has psychological trauma and can only stay in hotels. She gave me a smug smile. My family's in real estate. I can rent you an apartment for free. Absolute safety guaranteed. I'll even find you a job nearby. After all, we're old acquaintances. Helping out is the least I can do. The guy curled his lip. Don't be too kind-hearted. What if she resumes her old profession in your apartment? The surrounding property values would. The girl covered her mouth in shock. That surely wouldn't happen? Whether intentional or not. Hayden Lee's glass of wine suddenly crashed to the floor, his face half lit in the shadows, as if expecting me to beg him to stand up for me like before. Then he'd play the perfect boyfriend, shielding me from all harm. Too bad I didn't even glance his way. Shan Lu cut in timely. Enough joking around. Miss Shen, I'm not one to forget kindness. Han Fei and I manage a company, and we're about to secure another round of funding soon. The business division has been constantly overwhelmed. You have experience in personal care. The minister has an elderly paralyzed mother who needs someone to look after her. If you understand investing, you could even chat with her about financial reports in your spare time. No need. I already have a job. I smiled, took another sip, savoring the sweet richness of the Manhattan. Lu Shanshan frowned. This job opportunity is truly rare for someone like you. Have you heard of Titan Capital? The world's most renowned financial institution. I've already sent a meeting request email to their managing director. When we discuss investments, you could join as the minister's assistant and gain some exposure. This woman is a prodigy in the industry. She rose from obscurity to the position of managing director in just a few years. For the sake of Han Fei's and my career, I leveraged quite a few connections to get in touch with this international capital investor. Lu Shanshan gazed affectionately at Hayden Li, her pride evident. Everyone chimed in with flattery. Sis Shanshan is amazing. She actually managed to get Titan Capital involved. I've heard of that managing director too. He got his PhD in math from a top foreign university and was recruited by Titan before even graduating. What a brilliant young talent. You have no idea how many all-nighters Sis Shanshan pulled studying materials to secure this investment. I doubt she and young Master Li are just friends. Lu Shanshan walked up to Hayden Li, downed the drink in his glass in one go, and leaned into his arms. Emboldened by the alcohol, the crowd egged them on to kiss. and Lu Shanshan even tilted her perfectly made, up face upward. But Hayden Lee didn't make a move. He held the woman with one arm, his gaze toward me almost defiant. I couldn't help but find it amusing. That investor is called Susan Shen, if I'm not mistaken. Right, and I heard her hometown is actually here too. Shen as in Shen? Someone with a mischievous look nudged their chin toward me and teased. It couldn't be Mei Shen, could it? I nodded. Yeah, that's me. The bar fell into a brief silence. This was followed by a burst of uproarious laughter. Mei Shen, have you lost your mind? How dare you associate yourself with a powerhouse like Susan Shen? You're both women, yet you're only fit to be trampled by thousands. Everyone indulged in baseless speculation about me, while singing praises of Lu Shanshan and the so-called Susan Shen they spoke of. But I paid no mind. If not for my boss needing me to handle something, I would have left long ago. I downed the last drop of liquor in my glass and ordered another from the bartender. Just then, a young woman in a professional suit hurried into the bar, clutching a stack of documents. Apologies, President Liu. Titan Capital has replied to the email and agreed to a meeting, but it's very rushed, in just half an hour. So I've brought all the necessary documents. Half an hour? Lu Shanshan was utterly shocked, baffled by the urgency. Was it Susan Shen who replied to the email? The assistant quickly nodded. Yes. President Liu, there's no need to rush. I've already verified that all these documents are in order. Watching Lu Shanshan's joy radiate from her expression, everyone offered their congratulations. She planted a fierce kiss on Hayden Lee's cheek, but the man turned his head away expressionlessly. With just half an hour until the meeting, the women flurried around Lu Shanshan, fussing over her appearance. Only I, as a woman, lounged leisurely sipping my drink. Lu Shanshan spoke with displeasure. It's only out of respect for Hayden that I found you this job as the department head's assistant. The department head is already on her way, but her elderly mother is home alone and needs someone to watch over her. Mei Shun, I'll give you her address. Hurry over there. I was utterly baffled. Didn't I say I don't need a job? Please don't make arrangements for me without asking. Miss Liu. The others wore expressions of amused anticipation. The assistant, confused, could only offer an awkward smile. Lu Shanshan's face fell, and she looked pleadingly at Hayden Lee. Hayden Lee frowned, his expression darkening. Just as he opened his mouth to speak, the assistant suddenly let out a sharp scream. The address. The address. Susan Shin still hasn't replied about where to meet. Lu Shanshan, furious, slapped her assistant. Waiting for a reply was no longer an option. She took out her phone and dialed the number from the email's business card. I'll call her directly. At that moment, my phone rang. The air in the bar seemed to freeze, and all eyes turned toward me. Their expressions were a spectacle in themselves. A man snorted first. Mei Shun, you really go all out with the act. Was that an alarm you set on purpose? I hear people in your line of work sleep during the day and operate at night. I chuckled softly and raised my hand to hang up the call. A busy tone sounded from Lu Shanshan's phone. Her face darkened. It's just a coincidence. She dialed the number again. My alarm rang once more. The crowd erupted in chaos. Susan Shun. Perhaps that Shun really is Mei Shun Shun. Impossible. She used to be nothing but young Master Li's lapdog. Utterly incompetent. How could she transform into a professional investor in just a few years? Several people scrutinized me from head to toe, their faces etched with disbelief. Honestly, that dress she's wearing, I recognize it. It's a limited edition Armani Prive gown, something most people can't afford. I've heard of Susan Shun. She seems particularly fond of this luxury brand. Hey, look, even her phone case is a limited artist collaboration. I found it somewhat amusing, and once again declined the incoming call. Lu Shanshan's face turned even greener as she frantically dialed several numbers. When the last call finally rang, I answered directly. Miss Liu, you're quite punctual. It was like dropping a bombshell in the crowd. Every face froze in shock. The assistant stammered. I've spoken with President Shen. That's exactly her voice. Those spoiled heirs who'd just been mocking me now swarmed around me, as if forgetting their earlier condescending coldness. They now buzzed with the overbearing enthusiasm of aunties at a wet market. Susan Shun, truly, seeing you in person is far better than hearing your name 100 times. You carry yourself with even more grace than in photos. Sis Shun, rising to managing director at Titan Capital in just a few years. You've really got talent. I remember back when you were dating young Masterly. They said you were a math graduate student abroad. Top students like you are meant to make big money in finance. Sis Shun, do you remember me? My family runs high-end restaurants. Whenever you have time, we'd be honored if you'd grace us with your presence. Their attitude toward me was obsequiously reverent, even more exaggerated than how they treated Lu Shanshan. The couple who earlier tried to arrange a job for me even slapped themselves, cursing their own lack of discernment. As for Hayden Lee, the shock in his eyes had gradually faded into calm, his thin lips pressed together, the tips of his fingers holding the wine glass slightly pale, yet he remained silent. I was surrounded like the moon encircled by stars, while Lu Shanshan was left utterly ignored. One hypocritical face after another swirled before my eyes, and I couldn't suppress a wave of nausea. Suppressing my discomfort, I ignored the group and sent a message to my boss. He asked me to stall for another 5 minutes. Lu Shanshan's face flushed beet red as she steeled herself and walked over. President Shun, what brings you here so suddenly to see me? Let me take a look at your documents. The assistant scurried over with a thick stack of files. I skimmed through a few pages and smiled with satisfaction. Miss Lu, your company's business is thriving. Series of funding has already secured $100 million in investment. Quite impressive. Miss Lu. Lu Shanshan straightened her posture proudly, glancing at Hayden Lee's tall figure with a smug expression. It's all Hayden's doing. I merely played the role of a supportive partner. I nodded with a smile. Well done. Well done. Hearing my interest in investing, the crowd seemed to snap back to attention, and Hayden Lee's name returned to their lips. Young Master Lee truly lives up to being President Shun's ex. Such remarkable talent. I'm sure President Shin offered him plenty of guidance back in the day. Sis Shun has great taste. Now that young Master Lee has taken over the family business, they make quite the match. Sis Shun is so beautiful, and young Master Lee is so handsome. It'd be a crime if they weren't together. Even though Lu Shanshan was clearly Hayden Lee's official girlfriend now, everyone kept hyping up how Hayden and I were meant to be, making Lu Shanshan visibly uncomfortable. A scornful female voice cut into the conversation. The girl crossed her arms, her expression dripping with disdain for these sycophants. Susan Shun, I heard your family was drowning in debt before you went abroad. How did you suddenly become so-called famous investor overseas? I thought to myself, obviously through my relentless hard work. The girl walked over to Lu Shanshan and linked arms with her. You didn't come back just to scam rich guys like young Master Lee, did you? Finally having someone to back her up. Lu Shanshan perked up with confidence. We're aiming for $1 billion in Series B funding. I wonder if Susan Shun can really sway the hire. UPS at Titan Capital, since you claim to be the managing director, please present identification to verify your status. She frantically signaled to Hayden Lee with her eyes, hoping he would speak up for her. Instead, he pushed through the crowd and walked straight toward me. His tall figure halted before me, a pair of narrow, phoenix-like eyes set in his handsome face. He gazed deeply at me, but his words chilled Lu Shanshan to the bone. Why did you leave without a word? Why haven't you replied to my messages all these years? His eyes held intense resentment and grievance, as if I were the heartless villain in a romance novel. I was utterly baffled, even finding it somewhat absurd. Young Master Lee, I'm just a gold digger who had plastic surgery to look like the one that got away. I left once I got what I wanted. Isn't that simple enough to understand? He frowned tightly, lowering his head to ponder what exactly I had taken from him. After all, during those 3 years by his side, I used his credit cards, wore Lu Shanshan's clothes and bags, played the role of his idealized love. Every penny spent ultimately circled back to him. I was so different from other gold diggers that it gave him the illusion that I loved him. But truthfully, during those 3 years, I did genuinely love him. Emotionally, he was stubborn yet sincere. Otherwise, he wouldn't have developed psychological issues after Lu Shanshan's death. Perhaps it was that stubborn sincerity that drew me in, but it was all extinguished by the insults he and his friends hurled at me. I have my pride and self-respect. If it weren't for the life, saving money, I could never play the simp. He stared at me unwillingly. Mei Shin, you once promised you'd stay by my side forever. Hayden Lee, I'm just a gold digger. Why would you take a gold digger's word seriously? He searched my face desperately for any hint of tough talk, masking a soft heart, but found nothing. Stammering, he tried to say more, but a group of police officers burst through the door. Nobody moved. The police quickly spotted Lu Shanshan trying to flee behind the crowd and handcuffed her. You're suspected in a major case of corporate fund embezzlement. Lu Shanshan, you're coming with us. You got the wrong person. It's not me. Lu Shanshan was furious. Struggling with all her might, the officer said sternly, Lu Shanshan, 7 years ago, your boyfriend worked at Titan Capital and embezzled over 200 million, a significant portion of which was spent on you, wasn't it? This statement sent shockwaves through the crowd, sparking a flurry of discussions. 7 years ago, wasn't that when Sister Shanshan supposedly died in an accident? Who is this boyfriend? 7 years ago, wasn't Sister Shanshan with young Master Li? So Lu Shanshan faked her death, ran off with an embezzler and his 200 million. No wonder she's been hiding. Lu Shanshan has always been materialistic. 7 years ago, that embezzler lavished her with money, and she secretly betrayed Hayden Lee, disappearing to live a hidden life of luxury with that man. After the man was caught, she laid low for a while, thought she was in the clear, and then returned to Hayden Lee's side. Lu Shanshan's arrogance deflated, though she still protested defiantly. I have no money now, even if I'm jailed for life. I can't repay it. I handed a stack of documents to the police, preventing her from transferring any assets. This is the company controlled by Lu Shanshan. She shot me a hateful glare, then pitifully turned to Hayden Lee for help. Hayden, this is your company too. Won't you help me? But Hayden Lee just looked at her with disgust before walking toward me, feeling there was no old affection left to discuss. I walked straight out of the bar. Hayden Lee chased after me, grabbing my wrist. Mei Shin, won't you give me an explanation? Explain what? Weren't you having a great time back then? I owe you nothing. I shook off his hand and got into the car waiting for me. Standing downstairs, I gazed at my burnt home, watching the decorators come and go, overwhelmed with emotion. Load after load of debris was hauled away. The walls, vast stretches, charred black, were gradually repainted, transforming back into a livable space. My parents have adapted well abroad over the years and don't plan to return to China, nor do I intend to come back to this place of heartache. If sold, it's probably worth around 10 million. I was just about to go see the agent when Lu Shanshan blocked my path. She still had some connections after all, managing to get released on bail temporarily while awaiting trial. Behind her followed a gray-haired couple. Looking at them, a surge of rage flared in my chest. Back when our family was in debt, it was their extreme actions, arson that burned down our house, that left all 3 of us with severe burns. They were sentenced to 20 years in prison and only got their sentences reduced by promising not to pursue our family's debts further. I never expected they'd be out so soon. Lu Shanshan pulled out a loudspeaker. Come quick. Look, this is the deadbeat who owes money and won't pay. Now, she's turned into an investor, yet still refuses to repay a single cent. Isn't this bullying ordinary folks? Upstairs is the deadbeat's home. She has money for renovations, but none to settle her debts. That couple, sobbing and sniffling, actually described their 7-year prison sentence for arson as something I had forced and framed them into. More and more people gathered around, pointing fingers at me, with some pulling out their phones to live stream. Some, self-righteous, charged forward to attack me on behalf of the elderly couple. Everyone, stop. Hayden Lee swiftly stepped in front of me and called the police. Hayden, Lu Shanshan shot me a malicious glare, then turned to Hayden Li with a pitiful, vulnerable expression. You be the judge. Mei Shin owes them over 20 million and even sent them to prison. Is there no justice left? Hayden shook off her hand. Do you think I don't know? They set the fire that injured Mei Shin's family and only got a reduced sentence by canceling the debt. Lu Shanshan's eyes reddened. You're defending a stand. And am I still your girlfriend or not? Hayden gave her a cold look. We were never in a relationship to begin with. Lu Shanshan cried out in disbelief. You're actually helping this bitch instead of me? She's my girlfriend, Hayden Li said with an eerie calm. Lu Shanshan went berserk. She's just my replacement. Have you lost your mind after being fawned over by that simp for so long? Hayden Li was resolute. She has been my girlfriend from the start. We never broke up. Hearing this, I let out a scornful laugh. A flash of malice crossed Lu Shanshan's eyes. Fine, but for the sake of the love we once shared, I can't stand by and watch you continue to be deceived by Mei Shen. Deceived? Hayden Li froze. Lu Shanshan raised her voice loudly. Aren't you curious? The entire Shin family suffered severe burns. Where did the money for their treatment come from? A debt of 100 million, cleared in just 3 years. Whose money was that? Mei Shin accepted a commission from your mother to undergo plastic surgery to look like me, all to treat your psychological trauma. She received 100 million, a 100 million reward. Hayden Li stood frozen in place, as if struck by lightning. Lu Shanshan's confident expression seemed genuine, making him turn to me in disbelief. Mei Shen, is what she said true? After a brief silence, I nodded. Yes, everything she said is true. I don't believe it. He staggered toward me, nearly tripping. Are you saying all your past care for me was fake, just for the money my mother gave you? I admitted again. Yes. 2 affirmations struck like 2 invisible arrows, hitting the same bullseye. Hayden Li swayed, and his gaze toward me suddenly held a trace of humility. We've been together for 3 years. Didn't you ever, even for a moment, feel something? I pursed my lips and asked, would you fall in love with someone who treated you the way you treated me? His face turned pale, and he fell silent, but I spoke up, because I once loved, and now, I deeply regret it. Hayden Li's eyes widened. Hayden Li, for the sake of the heart and soul I once poured into you, let's part on good terms. The police arrived just in time to take Lu Shanshan and the elderly couple away. As for me, I simply turned and left, burdened with debt. Lu Shanshan had tried to squeeze money out of me by inciting that couple to harass me. They sent thugs to cause trouble at my home, pretended to be pitiful, and live-streamed false claims that I refused to repay debts, leaving 2 elderly people homeless, and so on. My phone number was maliciously leaked, and I received countless personal attacks daily. I saw right through these tactics and directly contacted my lawyer, having them arrested again on charges of disorderly conduct and fraud. This time, Lu Shanshan lacked the means to get out of detention. She begged everyone she could, hiring lawyers to run around on her behalf, and borrowing money to repay her debts to Titan Capital. The couple had prior criminal records and were sentenced to 5 years this time, a heavier punishment. Many online remained curious about my experience, so I seized the moment to stir up some buzz. I went live once to explain the whole story from beginning to end. Some creditors were willing to appear on camera and testify to how difficult things had been for me back then. A university professor faced the camera, speaking about how diligent and hardworking I was in my studies. Some colleagues from Titan Capital also testified to my excellent interpersonal relationships and outstanding work performance. This live stream successfully garnered a wave of goodwill, boosting Titan Capital's domestic recognition and even raising its stock price. Pleased with the outcome, the boss awarded me another 1 million yuan in bonuses. Meanwhile, Lu Shanshan pulled out all the stops to get Hayden Li to visit her at the detention center. Hayden, behind the glass window, a makeup-free Lu Shanshan, gazed at him with pitiful eyes. I haven't seen you these days, and you've lost so much weight. It breaks my heart. Please don't grieve over that cold-hearted ungrateful woman, okay? Hayden Lee, deeply affected by my earlier blow, looked unshaven and listless. He responded with a cold laugh. Are you trying to say your feelings for me are genuine? Lu Shanshan's eyes reddened as she looked at Hayden Lee with sincere earnestness. It was wrong of me to sneak away from you back then. Every day with that man was filled with anxiety, and every day I thought of you. I was truly wrong. The days I returned to you were the happiest time of my life. As she spoke, 2 tears fell. Hayden Lee let out a soft, derisive laugh. You still owe Titan Capital $30 million, failed to repay it, and you'll rot in prison. Is this so? Called sincerity just your way of coming to borrow money from me? Lu Shanshan's face instantly turned pale as she pleaded with Hayden Lee. I'm sorry, Hayden, for the sake of our past. Please help me repay it. I'll leave him and start a business with you again. No, I'll do anything, even be your servant. Hayden Lee had no desire to engage with this shameless woman and walked out of the detention center without hesitation. The midday sun was harsh and blazing, and in a daze, he found himself transported back to when he first met Mei Shun. She had the exact same face as Lu Shanshan, yet she asked with utter seriousness, Sir, would you give me a chance to pursue you? But she didn't know. Apart from that face, she bore no resemblance to Lu Shanshan at all. Lu Shanshan never let herself suffer grievances. Yet, for me, she endured them all. Yet back then, I mocked her. Do you really like me that much? Yes, I do, she answered earnestly, starlight shimmering in her eyes. But I ended up losing that Mei Shun, who once loved me with all her heart and soul.